How does one seek socio-economic rights relief without saying that in this circumstances, in this case, this organ of state has a duty to these people to provide X? You can't otherwise have an effective remedy for socio-economic rights. And the definition of a duty to provide a nevarapine pill to a mother on the one hand, or the duty to provide 50 liters of water to somebody on the other, are no different in concept. It ultimately, it must have the capacity to define what, in the particular circumstances, is owed by the particular organ of state to the particular citizen. The background of the introduction of prepaid meters must be borne in mind was that the deemed consumption or flat rate system was in place in Phiri as it was in very many other townships. And it is important to appreciate that that effectively meant for the poor unable to pay for their own water, free water, unlimited free water. In Phiri, the average number of dwellings per stand is 2.6, which is extraordinary. It means that on every stand, there is an average of almost 3 dwellings. And the average, of course, means that there must be a fairly wide range across that 2.6. The second is that on every multi-dwelling stand, the average occupancy throughout Johannesburg, not Phiri, which is particularly densely populated, but throughout Johannesburg is 10. So in Phiri, it must be upwards of 10 on the multi-dwelling stands. The implications, if for a household of 10, of the various quantities of water supplied are as follows. If one postulates purely the average household of 10, then the implications are, firstly, if they receive 6 kiloliters of free water, which is what everybody receives except those on the indigency register. 6 kiloliters of water gives everybody 20 liters per person per day. And that's the general regime for everybody except those on the indigency register. Those on the indigency register get 10 liters per month. And for 10 people, that gives 33 liters per person per day. There must be a fair opportunity to make representations before any limitation or discontinuation. And we submit that the purpose, the opportunity that has to be provided must obviously be one which allows the cutoff to be avoided if sufficient reason for it is advanced. On consultation, invited my learned friend to show us where there is evidence of consultation on the question whether prepaid meters should be introduced in Phiri. He was asked that question, and with respect, he didn't answer it. He merely explained again that there was a lot of consultation about the prepaid meters and public support was one. But that consultation was absolutely clear what the nature of it was. They had decided to install prepaid meters, and they went out to win public support for it. And they told people at all the public meetings that we have this plan, it's called Operation Ginamanzi. We're going to install prepaid meters. They are a fantastic thing. And by the way, if you don't take them, you're going to cut off your water. And after all of that persuasion, lots of people bought in, and ultimately everybody capitulated. But that was a sales pitch. It was not consultation on the question whether prepaid meters should be introduced at all. There is absolutely no evidence that they ever went to any resident to say to them, we're considering whether to introduce prepaid meters. We invite you to make representations on the question whether we should do so. There was never any consultation of that kind.
Your problem is the imposition of a blanket solution which works out with particular hardship on the people of Phiri.
Give them a choice. If prepaid meters are as good as they say, most people will choose it. But let them decide as you allow the rest of Johannesburg to decide. But there is no reason for the distinction in the treatment, this distinction in the solution adopted between the townships and the rest of Johannesburg. My learned friend, Mr. Marcus, was also asked, why did your client not offer the option of a credit meter? And I don't know whether you were able to listen carefully to his answer. But his answer was, well, there was this big problem. The deemed consumption problem, which we recognize as a big problem, and so on and so on. And my client thought that decided that the installation of prepaid meters was the solution to it. And he went, and he again simply told you why his client thought that prepaid meters was a good idea. He never answered the question. He never told you why they didn't offer the option of a credit meter. His own evidence shows that in other metropolitan areas, the same problem was addressed by offering people credit meters. In McLeod's evidence, volume 36, page 3543, paragraphs 40 to 42, he explains how in eThekwini the problem was addressed by offering residents credit meters, and the problem was successfully overcome. And we don't suggest that because others do it, you should have done it. What we do suggest is the question has never been answered. Why did you not offer Phiri the option you offered to white Johannesburg? That question was never answered. And we submit with respect that unless there is a good answer to the question, the distinction amounts to unfair discrimination. And no persuasive answer, in fact, no answer at all has ever been offered.
Very well. That brings us to the end of these proceedings. Judgment is reserved. Court will rise.
Whatever happens in the court, the struggle on the ground will continue. So people can rest assured, I mean, whether it's in Phiri or anywhere else, that this is not going to be the final end, even if it is a victory. We'll continue to fight for the progressive realization of all the rights, and because that's what community organizations are there to do, and that's what people are there to do, to change the situation. We don't accept the status quo.
We don't know when the judgment will come down. It's never possible to say, but we are very hopeful that our long struggle will be vindicated.